Welcome to the deep dive. Where we kind of roll up our sleeves and really get into some fascinating research.
Absolutely.
Today is all about you and me and our maybe not so accidental purchases on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah,
Have you ever gone in just looking for, like a used lamp
sure.
and somehow walked out with a vintage record player and a ukulele?
The allure of the unexpected find
Right.
happens to the best of us, I think.
It really does. And today's deep dive is going to shed some light on why that happens.
Okay.
We are exploring this study called Facebook Secondhand Marketplace Browsing Influence on Impulse Buying, a mixed methods study.
Okay.
Buckle up, because we're going to unpack how the platform itself, along with a few sneaky psychological tricks,
Yeah,
can turn a casual scroll into a total shopping spree.
I love it.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So what makes this study particularly interesting is that it goes beyond just the numbers. It delves into the psychology behind those add-to-cart moments
Right.
by incorporating real stories from Facebook Marketplace users.
What makes this study so interesting is that it uses a mixed methods approach.
Ooh.
So they have both the quantitative data, like you were talking about,
Right.
but then they actually interviewed people
Interesting.
to get their qualitative perspective on it.
So it's like peeking into the minds of shoppers and figuring out what makes them tick?
Exactly.
I'm intrigued. Okay, so one of the first things that really grabbed my attention was this idea of immersive experience
Yeah.
and how it relates to those impulse buys.
Right. This is key.
So tell me more about that.
Yeah, the study found that the more you get sucked into browsing, those detailed descriptions, the vibrant pictures, maybe even a video demo of that antique tea set.
I've seen those.
Yeah.
Yes.
The more likely you are to make a spontaneous purchase.
It's like you totally get lost in this world of potential treasures,
You do.
right?
Yeah.
And you almost forget you're even shopping.
Yeah.
But what is it about that immersive experience that makes us so vulnerable to those impulse buys?
It's a bit like entering a flow state.
Okay. When you're truly immersed in something,
Mm-hmm.
your focus narrows and you become less aware of your surroundings
Right.
and even your own internal self-control mechanisms.
So it's kind of like what happens when you get engrossed in a good book or a movie.
Exactly.
You lose track of time.
Yeah.
You become less inhibited.
Yeah, you're just there.
You're there.
You're present.
Okay, so that feeling of, I have to have this right now,
Uh-huh.
is partly due to our brains getting swept away by the experience itself.
Yeah, it's losing yourself in it a little bit.
Fascinating.
Yeah,
And I bet this is even more amplified by the element of serendipity.
absolutely.
Those moments when you stumble upon something amazing that you weren't even looking for.
Uh-huh. It's like striking gold in a digital thrift shop.
It is.
Yeah.
So the study found that these unexpected discoveries intensify the immersive experience,
They do.
making impulse buys even more likely.
Yes, because you weren't even planning on it.
Right.
And it's right there.
And it's there.
Yeah.
It's calling your name.
It's funny because part of the reason we love Facebook Marketplace
Yeah.
is that it feels so much less commercial
Yes.
than other online platforms.
Right.
It's more about, connecting with people in our community,
Oh, no.
finding unique items and
Yes.
scoring a good deal.
And that sense of community and personal connection is a huge part of the appeal.
I think so.
Yeah.
It feels more authentic somehow.
Absolutely.
But the researchers found that even with these good intentions, the platform's design and features can nudge us toward overconsumption,
Yeah.
whether we realize it or not.
It's very subtle.
Okay, so we've got this immersive experience.
Yeah.
We've got those delightful moments of serendipity. But let's be honest.
Sure.
Another big draw of Facebook Marketplace is the potential for snagging a bargain.
Oh, yeah. Always.
The study mentions this concept of deal proneness,
Oh, yeah.
which sounds very familiar.
Ah, yes. The thrill of the hunt for a good deal.
So the research found that people who love a bargain are especially susceptible to impulse buys on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, makes sense, right?
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. You're already looking for a good deal.
You are.
Then you stumble upon a flash sale.
Oh.
Or make me an offer option.
Come on.
I know.
No.
How can you resist?
Resistance is futile.
It is, yeah.
It's like a Simon song for deal lovers.
It is.
And it makes sense.
Yeah?
We are wired to respond to incentives and rewards.
We are.
Right?
Yeah.
So a good deal triggers that I'm winning feeling in our brains.
That dopamine rush.
Right.
Yeah.
Even if we weren't planning on buying anything in the first place.
Exactly.
It's powerful stuff.
It is. And don't forget about that power of scarcity.
Right.
That limited availability tag.
Right.
Where you see something and it's like, oh, that's the last one.
Oh, absolutely. Scarcity taps into our primal fear of missing out.
It
But
does.
suddenly, that vintage ceramic frog collection seems a lot less like a whimsical impulse
Right.
and more like a must-have limited edition treasure.
Totally.
Like our brains go into overdrive.
Yeah.
If I don't get this, now I'm going to regret it forever.
Exactly. It's a classic psychological tactic
Yeah.
that's been used in marketing for ages.
Forever.
And it works so well in the fast-paced world of online
It
marketplaces.
really does.
You're already immersed in this treasure hunt.
Yeah.
Found a great deal.
Right.
And now there's this added pressure
Oh, yeah.
of limited time or availability.
It's like the perfect recipe for an impulse buy cocktail.
It is.
But what I find really interesting is that the study didn't just rely on those quantitative findings.
Right.
They also interviewed actual Facebook marketplace users
to
get a deeper understanding of
Yeah.
their motivations and their experiences.
That's right. And that's where things get even more fascinating.
Okay.
The researchers wanted to understand the stories behind the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to get like a glimpse into the hearts and minds of the people who are actually using the platform.
Mm-hmm.
So what did they learn from these interviews?
Yeah.
Did any common themes emerge?
One of the most striking findings was this idea of Facebook Marketplace as a digital treasure hunt.
Oh, interesting.
Users describe the experience of browsing as an adventure,
Uh-huh.
a way to discover unique and interesting items they wouldn't find anywhere else.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It's not just about buying something, you know?
sir.
It's about the thrill of the hunt.
Exactly.
The excitement of discovering something unexpected.
Yeah.
And the satisfaction of snagging that one-of-a-kind item.
It's like a virtual flea market, but with the convenience of shopping from your couch.
I love that.
And the researchers found that this treasure hunt mentality, combined with the platform's user-friendly design
Mm-hmm.
and visual appeal, creates this potent mix
Yeah.
that can fuel impulsive buying behavior.
You mentioned visual appeal.
Yes.
I'm thinking about those eye-catching photos and videos
Oh, for sure.
that really draw you in.
Yeah.
It's almost like you can imagine yourself owning and using the item.
Absolutely. The visual element is so important.
Yeah.
Those high-quality images and videos,
Mm-hmm.
they create a sense of immediacy and tangibility.
Right.
It's no longer just a listing on a screen.
Right.
It's almost as if you're holding the item in your hands,
Yeah.
experiencing it firsthand.
So it's like the platform is playing on all of our senses
Uh-huh.
and creating an almost irresistible desire
Yeah,
to possess these items.
precisely. And don't forget about the social aspect.
Oh, that's right.
Seeing items from people in your community,
Yep.
maybe even people you know,
Right.
adds another layer to the whole experience.
It's like borrowing a cup of sugar from your neighbor.
Yeah,
But instead of sugar, it's a vintage typewriter or a set of handmade ceramic mugs.
exactly. It feels more personal,
Right.
more authentic,
Yeah.
less like a cold, impersonal transaction.
It really does. And that sense of connection can make us more inclined to make those spur-of-the-moment purchases.
It can.
It's almost like we're not just buying an object.
Yeah.
We're buying a piece of someone else's story,
Totally.
a connection to our community,
Yeah.
and a sense of belonging.
That's a great way to put it.
Oh, thank you.
And the researchers found that this emotional component
Yeah.
plays a really significant role in driving those impulse buys on Facebook Marketplace.
Interesting.
It's not just about acquiring material possessions.
Right.
It's about fulfilling those deeper psychological needs for connection, belonging, and self-expression.
This is so insightful.
Yeah.
But here's the million-dollar question.
Okay.
Even if we're aware of all these psychological triggers,
Uh-huh.
how can we resist the allure of the impulse buy,
Right.
especially when it seems like such a good deal?
That's the challenge, isn't it?
It is.
Knowing is only half the battle.
Okay, so what's the other half?
Putting that knowledge into action.
So what practical steps can we take to become more mindful shoppers,
Yeah.
even in the face of all those tempting deals and unique finds?
Well, first and foremost, it's important to remember that awareness is key. Now that you're aware of the psychological tactics at play,
Mm-hmm.
you can start to recognize those moments when you're being influenced by them.
Okay.
Pay attention to your emotions and thought patterns when you're browsing Facebook Marketplace.
Got it.
Ask yourself, do I genuinely need this item?
Right.
Or am I being swayed by those triggers we've been talking about?
It's like taking a step back and observing our own thoughts and behaviors,
Yes.
almost as if we're watching ourselves from a distance.
Exactly. That detached perspective can help you make more conscious choices.
That makes sense.
Another helpful strategy is to set a budget
Oh, a budget.
for your Facebook Marketplace shopping.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's like giving yourself a financial guardrail
Uh-huh.
to prevent those impulse buys from derailing your spending plan.
That's great advice for any type of shopping, really.
Oh, for sure.
It's so easy to get carried away when you see those tempting prices.
Absolutely. And if you find yourself tempted by an item that wasn't on your list
Okay.
or within your budget, try implementing a cooling off period.
Okay.
Step away from the app maybe for a few hours or even a day
Okay.
and see if you still feel the same way about the item later.
That's a great tip.
Yeah,
It's so easy to get caught up in the excitement of the moment.
it is.
But giving ourselves some time and space can help us make more rational decisions.
Absolutely. And here's another strategy that might seem counterintuitive.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Try to limit your browsing time.
Wait, you're telling me to spend less time on Facebook Marketplace?
I know it sounds like sacrilege,
It does a little bit.
but think about it.
Okay.
The more time you spend browsing,
Mm-hmm.
the more likely you are to encounter those tempting deals
Okay.
and unique finds
Right.
that trigger your impulse buying instincts.
It's like limiting your exposure to the impulse buy danger zone.
Exactly.
So instead of just endlessly scrolling,
Yeah.
we should be more intentional about our Facebook Marketplace visits.
Exactly. Decide what you're looking for before you even open the app. Maybe even create a list of specific items you need or want,
Okay.
so that way you'll be less likely to get sidetracked by those shiny objects that catch your eye.
It's like having a shopping list for your digital treasure hunt.
Yes.
Stay focused, stick to the plan, avoid those impulse detours.
Precisely. And speaking of treasure hunts,
Yes.
remember that not all treasures are found on Facebook Marketplace.
Ooh.
Sometimes the most sustainable and satisfying purchases
Yeah.
are the ones we don't make at all.
Ooh, that's powerful.
It is.
It's a good reminder that sometimes the best way to curb our impulse buying habits
Yeah.
is to simply step away from the marketplace altogether.
Exactly. And the study actually touches on this concept of sustainable consumption
Okay.
and how it relates to impulse buying on Facebook Marketplace.
Okay, this is the part I've been waiting for.
I know, right?
We've talked a lot about the psychology of impulse buying,
Yeah.
but now let's bring it back to the bigger picture, our impact on the planet.
Right. One of the most compelling aspects of this study is that it explores this tension between our desire to shop sustainably and our susceptibility to impulse buys.
Okay.
A lot of the participants in the study said that they chose Facebook Marketplace because they wanted to make eco-conscious choices.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to reduce waste
Right.
and give items a second life.
Which makes perfect sense.
It does.
Buying secondhand is generally considered a more sustainable option than buying new.
Absolutely. But here's where things get interesting.
Okay.
Despite their good intentions,
Uh-huh.
a lot of these same participants admitted to making impulse purchases on the platform,
Oh, no.
often buying items they didn't truly need.
So even when we're trying to be mindful consumers,
Mhm.
we can still fall prey to those impulse buying triggers.
Exactly. And this raises some really important questions
Yeah.
about the line between mindful and excessive consumption,
Mm-hmm.
even when we're shopping secondhand.
This is making me think about my own shopping habits.
Right.
I definitely gravitate towards secondhand items,
Yeah.
but I've also been guilty of making those spur-of-the-moment purchases that I later regret.
It's a common experience, and the study highlights the importance of examining our motivations and being honest with ourselves about whether we're truly making sustainable choices or
Yeah.
simply justifying our impulsive desires.
So it's not enough to just buy secondhand.
It's not.
We also need to be mindful of how much we're consuming overall
We do.
and whether those purchases are truly aligned with our values and needs.
Precisely. It's about finding that balance between enjoying the thrill of the treasure hunt,
Right.
snagging a great deal,
Yes.
and making conscious choices that support a more sustainable lifestyle.
This is such food for thought.
It is.
We're learning about the psychology of impulse buying,
Yeah.
the power of marketing tactics,
Oh,
the importance of aligning our actions with our values.
it's a lot to take in.
It is, but before we get too overwhelmed, let's shift gears and explore some practical strategies for navigating Facebook Marketplace in a more mindful way.
Sounds like a plan. I think our listeners are eager to hear some actionable tips
Me too.
that they can implement right away.
I'm ready to put this knowledge into practice and become a more conscious consumer.
Yes.
One Facebook Marketplace, scroll at a time.
Yeah.
Okay, so where do we go from here?
Yeah.
You know, we've learned about all these impulse triggers,
Yeah.
but how do we actually put that knowledge into practice?
Right.
It feels like Facebook Marketplace is designed to make us want all the things.
Well, you're not wrong.
Right.
The platform is very good at what it does.
Yes.
But remember, awareness is the first step.
Okay.
Now that you know about those triggers, the immersive experience, the
Yeah.
thrill of the hunt deal, proneness, scarcity, you can start to spot them in action.
Yeah.
So next time you're scrolling and you feel that must-have-it-now urge,
Yeah.
just pause,
Okay.
take a breath,
Uh-huh.
and ask yourself,
Okay.
is this a real need, or am I being played by the algorithm?
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Am I being played?
Am I being played?
It's like having a little inner voice saying, hold on a second. Are you sure about this?
Yeah.
But I think for a lot of us, that inner voice gets drowned out by the excitement of the marketplace.
It does.
So what are some practical tips to actually strengthen that voice?
I'm glad you asked,
Okay, good.
because the study offers some concrete strategies.
Excellent.
First, try creating a wish list or a needs list before you even open the app.
Okay.
That way you're going in with a clear purpose,
Right.
and it's a lot harder to get sidetracked by random finds.
It's like having a shopping list for your digital treasure hunt.
I love that.
Okay, what else?
Setting a budget is crucial.
Okay.
Decide how much you're willing to spend on Marketplace before you start browsing.
Right.
This can really help prevent overspending,
Yeah,
especially when those good deals start popping up.
that's great advice for any type of shopping, really.
It is.
It's so easy to get carried away when you see those tempting prices.
Absolutely. And if you find yourself wavering on an item, maybe it wasn't on your list or it's kind of pushing your budget a little bit,
Yeah.
give yourself a cooling off period.
Okay.
Just close the app,
Uh-huh.
step away for a few hours, maybe even a day or two,
Hmm.
if you're still thinking about it after that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's meant to be.
I think that's so smart
Yeah.
because it allows the initial excitement to subside, and then you can really check in with, your true needs and wants.
Exactly. And remember what we talked about earlier.
But-
Sometimes the most sustainable choice is not buying anything at all.
It's true. The good reminder that our consumption habits, even when we're buying secondhand,
Right.
still have an impact on the planet.
They do. And the study really challenges us to examine our motivations.
Yeah.
Are we buying things because we genuinely need them? Or are we trying to fill some other void?
Right.
Like maybe we're seeking a sense of connection
Okay.
or trying to alleviate boredom or stress.
It's like using shopping as a Band-Aid for something deeper.
Precisely. And while there's nothing wrong with treating yourself occasionally,
Right.
it's important to be aware of those patterns
Mhm.
and make sure they're not driving our spending habits.
Yeah, I love this idea of being a more conscious consumer,
Me too.
even when it comes to secondhand shopping.
Yeah, it's not just about what we buy,
Right.
but why we buy it.
And that's a key takeaway from this whole deep dive, right?
It is.
Facebook Marketplace, like any online platform,
Mm-hmm.
can be a powerful tool,
Yes,
but it's up to us
it is.
to use it wisely
To wield it with wisdom.
by understanding the psychology behind our shopping habits
Yes.
and implementing some of these practical strategies.
Mm-hmm.
We can navigate the marketplace in a more mindful and sustainable way.
Absolutely.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation.
It has.
I feel like I have a whole new perspective on my own shopping habits.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely going to be putting these tips into practice. So deep divers, the next time you find yourself scrolling through Facebook Marketplace, remember what we've learned today.
Yes.
Be mindful of those impulse triggers.
Mm-hmm.
Shop with intention
Absolutely.
and choose sustainability over excess.
Love it.
Until next time, happy diving.